Hey guys, my name is Jonas Nocom, and I'm running for this year's Vice President. For some of you guys who don't know me, I'm the currently stay-out chair for this year, and this is my second year being involved in FASA. And before I start saying why I'm qualified for this position, I want to say what FASA means to me. When I moved here from the Philippines, I felt completely lost because I didn't think we were going to stay here, but we did. And and I grew up in an area where there was no Filipino community around me. And my parents were too busy working to explain to me what being Filipino meant. And while growing up, I was lost and I didn't know my identity as being Filipino. And when I went to college and joined FASA, I learned a lot about myself and my identity as who I am as Filipino and my pride in Filipino. And with that being said, one of my qualifications that I think would make a good vice president is that I'm passionate. I think having the passion is much better than being qualified for it, because that's what sets the difference between doing a job and doing a great job, because you're passionate for it. I've talked to various alumni about what FASA used to be before and now, and I can see from the stories the differences, good and bad. And I believe I want to try and address that. Being a 1.5 generation, I personally believe I can see from both generations' perspectives, and I think this will be very useful, especially with the alumni board coming up, so we can connect the alumni and the current members and their perspective, and I could be the mediator of that, and I think that's what the vice president needs to do. Especially with 13 officers, they could all be great leaders, and of course they're going to clash heads. I think the vice president has to be the mediator between that and make sure we're working towards a common goal. Especially now with the alumni board trying to be made, and on how much active they should play as a role being with FASA officers. I think this would be very important. Another qualification I think would be important as a vice president is my experience in FASA. As a current SAIA officer right now, I've experienced what FASA is and how it works because of the other officers. And I exactly know what other officers are in charge of. And I think this is very important. Being able to know what FASA is broken down, being able to help them, lead them, this is important as a vice president because that's what you need to do. You're going to need to help them and be a leader at the same time. But with that being said, as a SAIA officer, I think SAIA is like a macrocosm of FASA. In a way that SAIA has members, alumni, and leaders. And as a leader of SAIA, I had to plan practices, performances, and communicate with alumni members and other professionals and make sure that they were happy, they were doing their job, and we were working towards a common goal. And with that being said, I think SAIA has established a good relationship with the alumni and members. I think this is what FASA needs, because alumni are the past and they're important. I think the past is important for your identity and for FASA itself. And one of my main goals before I run out of time is alumni outreach. I know a lot of officers said they want to emphasize on alumni outreach, but I just want to say that having one dinner in fall quarter for the whole year is not enough. I mean, you're just pretty much putting them in one event, and then after that, you're just leaving them. I think we need to start in the summer, because in the summer, that's when we plan the year, and that's where we train new officers on how to become leaders. And I think that's a perfect way for alumni to get involved. And also, I think we need to cater to the alumni schedules. They have kids, families, and they have jobs, and we're the ones that need them. So why are they catering to us? I think we need to have informal and formal events for alumni throughout the year instead of just one. An example of that is, I was thinking maybe in the summer, it could be just like, hey, we're having a barbecue in Gasworks, come out, bring your family, kids, meet the new officer. It's informal. They can grab a burger, have a good time. There's no formal, or there's no business in it. And you also get to hit two birds with one stone, where you meet the new cabinet, and you also get to learn the alumni. And with that being said, I hope you guys vote for me as Vice President. Thank you for listening.
All right. And you do realize that this is like the hardest position in the whole organization, right? And I do appreciate everybody has a passion to run. And when you were saying what makes you qualified is if you're passionate, what's your plan? I mean, everybody got passion. What's your plan?
I think my plan is, especially this year, I think our membership dropped, and that's important as an organization. And one of my plans for membership is doing little things like what worked before. Like I remember Kuya Pat said in his year, they would do silly things like hug everyone before they leave. Like little things like that for membership would be good. And I believe the way FASA was planned last year needs to change in the fact that our general meetings, there's 13 or 14 of them, and we put a lot of pressure in each officer to plan that. I think we need to have workshops and panels, and I don't think we should structure it where we put one officer in charge of that meeting, because I think we need to plan that in the summer, make sure it also addresses what FASA is about. I feel like we need to have identity workshops. I feel like a lot of Filipino Americans, especially now, they don't know what being Filipino means or what it means to be categorized as Asian or Pacific Islander. I think that's important, because if you know that, then you're going to be curious to know more about your history and who you are, and you're going to be more passionate about FASA.
So being VP means like internal organization relations. Say for example, you have an officer like sloughing real hard, like they're not doing their job. How would you deal with that in a professional manner? And how would you keep the morale of the officers going up and make sure the boss is running effectively?
In the summer, we have a retreat where we all hang out in a camping ground and we invite alumni, and we pretty much do workshops. And within that day, we promise a lot of things on what we're going to do the whole year. And I think a lot of people forget that in the middle of the year. And I just think we need to have some kind of evals in the middle of the year, or some kind of way where we need to hold people accountable for their promises. It's easy to forget promises because, I mean, there's quotes like, promises are meant to be broken and stuff like that. And there's a reason for that, but I think,
like 7 years, so.
but I also say I'll either, I had to be assertive when I need to. And there's also the fact that if someone's not doing their job, you just have to tell them straight up, because if you're not doing your job, then you're not doing your job. I mean, that's all there is to it.
Yeah. So in your speech, you talked about alumni concerns. What's a concern that you think is problematic to FASA, and how do you plan to deal with that?
Well, I mean, I thought my goal is alumni outreach. I mean, we all mentioned it before, and we all know like the alumni outreach has been very little in the past. And I think that's important because in the past, FASA has been very successful, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people say it was successful before than now. And there's a reason for that, because it was. I mean, I think as the generation passes by, things change, but I also think it's important for us to know our history of FASA. And if you look at the history of FASA, there's a lot of things that changed. Like, and not a lot of people know that now. And it's important. Like the way officers work, the way meetings work, those are all important because they were held like that, or it was like that for a reason. And I think we need to take into account why these things were changed, because that was raised questions that are important. Sorry, did that answer your question?
Not really.
All right. Can you repeat the question? And I'll
So I said, there's a lot of concerns that the alumni are voiced. And so what do you think out of those concerns from the alumni are most problematic to FASA? And how do you plan to deal with that?
Well, I think the main concern is how involved alumni should be with the FASA organization. Should they be able to go into meetings every Monday, or should they be able to vote within concerns? And I think this is all important, and I don't think it's up to me to decide like the boundaries. But I think that's one of the main concerns that FASA will be dealing with, is how active of a role should alumni play in the future. And I think when it comes down to it, we need to decide. We need to set a goal. Like as the alumni board is being made, we need to know how active the role of being alumni board is going to be with FASA. Because if you don't, I mean, you need to know like what are they supposed to be doing, or how is this going to help, or like in the future, like how is this going to impact FASA in the long run.
That's after one last question. Want to ask?
Okay, so we all been constantly asking about alumni and alumni involvement, but we forget to address the issue of membership and retainment and recruitment of membership. what good is alumni if there's no one, to plan it for? Aside from giving hugs for people going out, what are your plans for retention?
Well, like I said, I plan to change the way general meetings are held. I think it's not enough where we should have like one officer per meeting. I think we should be able to have workshops, panels within those meetings that are important to our identity, not just the social aspect of it. Because I strongly believe that if you know more about your identity, then that's the reason why you come to FASA. It's a Filipino American Student Association. And you want to learn more about being Filipino and what being Filipino means and being able to help your Filipino community. And I think if we address those, like having identity workshops and having panels like that, I mean, there's a lot of alumni out there. I mean, FASA has been here for a long time. And why aren't we having alumni panels? I mean, this will be very useful because it also addresses the academic and the future of these students. And
So just to follow up, so having panels, alumni panels, will bring membership?
well, I think that's part of it, like workshops, like identity workshops, and also like someone asked about the benefits of being a membership. I honestly think there's not enough benefits to buying a $5 membership. And I know one of my ideas personally is to talk to the app and see if they can get discounts. Because I mean, we go to the app a lot, and if we can get discounts for being a FASA member, I know other orgs have done it. That would be very beneficial for the students.